We transformed one surface progression in just one day, and in this video I'm going to show you exactly how we knew what to work on, exactly what we did, and how we actually made such meaningful and fast improvement. And in the end of this video, stick around because I'll break down how you can do the same. If you are new here, my name's Considine and I'm a professional longboarder, a surf coach, a physio, and I started a platform called longboardsessions.com to help surfers experience the best of their surfing. And I'm here today to help you unlock your full surfing potential no matter where you're at. I'm traveling here at the moment with my partner in Portugal, and we decided to do one day of coaching to see the results we could get. The first thing we needed to do was figure out what we needed to actually work on. Now, I'm not just looking for the bigger goals, although they can and will help to inform the trend of where we want our surfing to progress and head. But all too often I see surfers practicing these bigger goals like cross-stepping or nose riding or cutbacks from the very start. But we can essentially see surfing progression as a continuous series of skill stacking. And if we haven't stacked these skills up correctly from the start, we will have kinks in the chain which make our progression really, really difficult.
Setup.
To understand what we needed, we went to her quantified skills evaluation that we've done for her on longboard sessions and found that the next skills on the list, and therefore the major levers we needed to act upon to progress forwards, was her carve to beach and her intermediate longboard stance. These being the major components to getting her board on the right part of the wave and utilizing the board efficiently, and of course getting her turns happening really, really well. So firstly, we went to look at some of the prior footage that we'd seen on her surfer rating video on longboard sessions, specifically her intermediate turns. The key things we could see with her turns is that she had some really good body mechanics. However, the turns were just looking a little bit slow and the tail isn't quite being engaged the way we would like. In a perfect scenario, these turns would be a little bit quicker and sharper, disengaging more rail more effectively, and this would allow her to utilize the speed and the faster aspects of the wave more and more efficiently. If we look back on the feedback on this evaluation as well, we could see that learning to use a better stance for turning and leveraging her weight transference more effectively, and there is a specific way that we actually do this, so I'll speak about that in the middle of this video, but that this would be really, really important. So that was the plan of action, and it was time to get to the beach. Now, we had a beautiful day in Peniche with nice 2-foot clean waves, but before changing anything, we wanted to see here and now how she was navigating her turns and her overall control on the board to set up our baseline for the coaching session. We could see the same strengths and limitations that we'd previously spoken about. She had really good body mechanics, but the board wasn't following suit as we would have liked. Again, we're looking to improve the tail engagement, as the amount of rail in the water was making the turns particularly slower and a little boggy, especially if she tried to turn harder or more quickly. So the first thing my mind went to for this was perfecting the stance. A big reason that the turns aren't reacting the way that we would like is the back foot is a little far forward, and if we could get the weight on the back foot properly in combination with her really good body rotation, then we've got a winning formula. So we sent her out again after cueing a wider stance plus a little shuffle back towards the tail. So let's see what happened then. With this little adjustment, the position of the feet certainly improved, which I was really, really happy with. And we could see with how the board was tracking, the increased maneuverability was there. But I recognized an all too common problem, and that's the subconscious maintenance of the body position towards stability and avoiding less stable positions, which we actually need for turns in order to shift the weight across from the center of the board to engaging the rail and the tail effectively. To give an example of this, Anthea's foot positioning is correct, yet her weight is very far forwards by looking at her hip position, which was the next thing that we wanted to change. So even though the back foot was still on the tail, her weight wasn't being fed to the tail, which means despite the changed position, the actual changes we were seeing in her turning that we were achieving were fairly minimal. So we actually went through the footage together here and practiced a little drill on the beach. That being to shift her hips from the front to the back like this, and really getting a good feel for what she needs to be feeling from her body on the wave. Now, with this adjustment, we could see some really nice improvement where there was really good tail engagement. By getting her weight back using her hips and keeping her great rotation, we can see her turning mechanics changing already. The nose was evidently lifting more, and the speed through the turns and the duration of the arc was getting faster and shorter, which is exactly what we're after. But one thing Anthea was giving me feedback on was that sometimes it felt more natural to complete this weight shift, and sometimes it still felt really clunky and she was hesitant to do it. And this came down to her wave position, where she was turning in the flats of the whitewater versus turning with more space near the top of the wave. So this next drill is the adjustment that we made, which was to engage everything that we'd spoken about. So the hips transferring back and the feet placement further back as well, with an emphasis on the top of the wave. So let's see how that worked out. This was epic. She was consistently coming into a great position and getting good nose lift with improved rail engagement. Now, as with anything new, especially in surfing, it does take time to adopt. We had a chat about where this will go for her surfing, and that as she becomes more and more comfortable moving into this position, she will gradually and naturally improve her willingness to lean back and engage the rail. Now we do just need to let consistency and frequent practice to let the muscle memory do its thing. But instead of just hearing about it from me, I thought I would let Anthea share her experience, and then I'll walk you through exactly what you can do for your own surfing progression today.
I was struggling to turn. I thought in my brain, I have to turn my whole body this way, which is, I was doing that, but then the board wasn't really following me. So it wasn't very smooth or quick or stable. Probably putting weight on my back foot, putting more pressure on the tail to learn how to lift the board up more, the nose of the board, so that I could turn better was definitely a key point. Trying to put heaps of weight on the back so that the board would lift and rotate a bit more, to make it more maneuverable. That was probably more obvious when I started doing that. Trying to turn at the right part of the wave, so waiting till I was more high on the face of the wave to try and turn down, rather than trying to do it at the bottom of the wave when the board was often flat and didn't have any speed.
The key things I wanted to reinforce is that knowing what to work on, and then really, really importantly, the faster the feedback loop, meaning the faster you try something and then get feedback on whether this is correct or not and adjust your practice accordingly, and then rinsing and repeating that progress is the real difference between you being able to progress now and potentially years or months from now. We can see in Anthea's example, we had 3 key adjustments that we needed to be making. Putting her feet back, getting her to shift her hips, and then finally adjusting her position on the wave before we got the actual required outcomes and turns that we wanted. And in prior practice, as she said, it's not that she didn't have the ability, it's just knowing exactly what was missing or not being targeted in the best way. They have done studies on this where the quicker the feedback loop, the quicker we learn, and unfortunately for us as surfers, the feedback loop is all too often either non-existent or months apart, which is how our surfing feels as though it's stagnating or is plateauing. If getting on top of things in this way is even a little bit interesting, then please feel free to just go have a look at longboardsessions.com. It's made to do exactly this and essentially create the best learning environment possible. So hopefully catch you in there. And as always, thank you so much to all the members at Longboard Sessions who have joined up since last video. I love seeing everyone progress, and again, it means a lot to me towards my goals of being able to be creating content and helping surfers full time. So thank you so much again. I do really appreciate it. And if you found this valuable, then feel free to watch this video. I'm not sure where it's going to come up on the screen, but a video on our friend Jonathan's surfing progression, where we go in depth on how he achieved great results with creating speed, which of course feeds into almost every aspect of our surfing improvement.